Hey, welcome into the arena. Neo's back. If you've watched much of my channel, you may recall I did several videos with this colt last spring and summer. I finished up 60 days with him. He went home, was home for a couple of months, and now he's back for a third month of training. And main reason they brought him back was he's crow hopping a bit. The teenage girl that owns him, she's a pretty good rider, but she's not as confident. In other words, she's better than she thinks she is. And so she got a little bit intimidated by him crow hopping, and she said he even bucked once or twice with her, which, knowing this colt, he's so stinking smart. He's just trying to see what he can get away with. But the other thing about him, and this is really the key, and that's why I've got him bitted up here. The reason I've got him bitted up is that this horse seriously needs to learn to travel correctly. He needs to learn to travel in frame. In fact, what I'll do right here is I'll put in a video clip of the last time I did a video with him. The very last, before he was going to go home. And if you watch him move into the lope on this video, you'll see how spread out he is. He'd take into that lope like a drunken giraffe, okay? And that's, part of that can be scary to a horse as well as it's just wrong on a number of levels, and he can hurt himself. There's all kinds of things. So what I'm gonna do in this 30 days, and I've had him, this is probably like the third or fourth session since he came back, is I'm gonna do a lot of this right here, bitting him up. I'm riding him a lot in collection, making sure he stays in frame and so forth like that. And he's far enough along, he's in good enough physical condition, he's smart enough, he knows what's going on, he can do this, okay? I would never do this with a colt in the first 30 days. I might do it, and I think I maybe did a little bit with this one in the second 30 days, if they really understand giving to pressure with the bit, so forth like that. But he's at a place now, this is what he needs. He needs a lot of it. So now I've got on him, and you should be able to see, if I just let him do what he wants, he'll kind of stick his nose out, and that's not unusual for a lot of colts to do that. But this one especially needs to learn this, needs to learn to carry himself properly. So I'm going to start asking him here, and you want to ask this with your feet first. So I'm going to get my hands ready, bump him with my feet. And he's a pretty smart colt. He should have figured out by now, and that's not bad. And I just barely touched him with my feet. And I'm not going to expect or require a full, complete collection with his nose straight up and down and his back up. As long as I keep his head pretty low, I'm going to kind of accept that for today as kind of the minimum that I will allow. I can get it better, so I'm going to bump him here. There we go. So right there I can get it pretty good. And what I tell my students when you're doing this, 90% feet, 10% hands. We humans are way too handsy. That's just our natural thing. We want to do everything with our hands. And that's not the best way. The best way here is to ask him with my feet, ask him to lift that back up. I'm touching his belly with my spurs, and he's used to this. He's obviously not bothered by it. All right, so now I'm going to ease him into a trot, and I'd like him, so you can see how he tried to come out of frame, and I get him back into it. He's swishing his tail because that's who he is. Now I'm going to ease him back down to a walk. Okay, and so he got real bracy with me there, and that's the stuff we're going to be working on for this next month. I won't fix it today, but I might get it a little bit better. Okay, good. Now I'll ask him to trot off again. That was better. He did bring his nose up, but it wasn't as much as the first time. Ask him to trot off. Now I'll ask him to slow down. See, he wants to throw his nose up. He's got this bad habit of throwing his nose up and pulling his body into that giraffe-like thing every time he changes gears or gets a little nervous. So that's what we're going to be working on. Stay with us.